Hello, guys. Welcome to today's session. It's your host again, the instructor for this session, Prince Way Elebuse, and I'm taking you on the last day of this web design 5-day bootcamp. And today we'll be building a simple web page, portfolio website to help us or for us to practice and see what we've done or what we've learned so far from the previous session, put that into practice today. So today we'll be using a CSS framework known as Tailwind CSS to style our web page, right? Now, what is Tailwind CSS? Tailwind CSS is a CSS framework that helps build responsive and customizable website. It is a utility first framework, meaning it's packed with sets of pre-designed utility classes that can be used to style a website easily. So without much explanation or talk, we'll jump straight to our code editor and we'll start um, practicing. So I guess you already have your VS Code open since that's what we'll be using today again. So we're going to go ahead and generate my code, my HTML boilerplate code. We'll do that, and then we'll go ahead and start writing our code, right? So the first thing we'll be doing, since we're building a portfolio website, the first thing we'll be doing is to give our website a title, right? When designing a website, the first thing is to give it a title. So in this case, I'll give it a title, call it portfolio website. And the next thing is for us to be able to use Tailwind CSS, which is new to this session, but for us to be able to use Tailwind, now we use Tailwind CSS in different ways, right? You can install Tailwind locally on your machine, but you can also use something known as a CDN. You can use Tailwind CDN, whereby you just call a link, right, on your HTML file using the script tag. So it's also an opportunity for us to learn about a new HTML tag. So using the script tag, and then we'll be able to call those utility classes, right? So we to call those classes, those pre-designed, those already designed classes on our web page and style it easily. So now, how do we go about that? We go about that by writing script, right? Inside the script opening tag, we're going to call source, and we're calling source. Sorry about that. We say HTTPS. I'm going to zoom out my screen so you can see very well. So I'm going to zoom. I hope this is better. I hope this is better in terms of the view. This is better in terms of the view. Okay, so I'll go ahead and put in, so of course it's CDN. So I'll say CDN dot tailwind css.com. cdn.tailwindcss.com. So for us to test and see if what we did actually is the linking phase is successful, we'll create a tag here, call it hello world, and there is a way you can basically call. So the way for you to actually like call. So now what we want to do basically is actually style this um, hello tag, right? This h1. Now in order for you to style this h1, you have to call in a class. So you go ahead by creating class attribute, and then when we do that, I'll say text um, right, to see if what we're doing is actually right. So go ahead and run our server. And then when we do, we see that the hello here changes from black to red. So that means our linking phase is successful. So let's go ahead and start creating our website. Now, in order for you to use Tailwind CSS, you can go on your browser. So you can go on your browser, go on Google, and then search for Tailwind CSS. So when you search for Tailwind CSS, you're going to see this. You click on it. So when you click on it, you can basically search for those classes, right? So let's say, for example, we're looking for colors. For example, we're looking for colors. You can see, you can basically click on this. Though you can see the different um, class, right? That you can give a color, right? We can go as far as saying um, so you can go as far as saying for layouts, right? Layout. Let's say you want to use grid template column. You also want to get the class name for grid template. Yeah, you see, right? This is a class, right? This is the class grid codes. Yeah. So this is the class. So this is how you use them. You can go here, copy the class name, right? And then paste on your HTML tag. So you see that while I'm developing this website. So just follow along with me, right? So I'm going to go ahead and first of all style my body tag with class of the class of BG, which stands for background gray 50, right? BG background gray 50. And now go ahead and start the navigation style, right? So sorry about that. So go ahead and start navigation. Let's start navigation. So our nav bar, so we're styling now. So I have an error here. So I'm supposed to indent this code, not leave it out like that. So I'm supposed to indent the code. And then let's go ahead and start. So we'll call our nav bar. And what we do, we call it to the class of, so we'll call it to the class of fixed. Now, if you guys can remember fixed from yesterday, CSS positioning method, right? And then we're setting it to fix, and then we're setting the top to 0, setting the top to 0, and then we're giving it a full width by saying W full, right? And then we're giving it background white, right? And then setting shadow SMZ50, right? And then we'll go ahead and put in our div class. So div dot to give us our class, setting max dash w, right, and 6xl, and then setting mx or 2, and then the pixel to 4. So hope you can see my screen and what I'm doing. And now go ahead and call another div. So basically, divs are containers in which we use in handling how we set our styling and layout in our web page. So flex justify between items center h16, right? So we'll have this set to flex justify between, have items set center h16. So we'll go ahead and then create our span. Then span will have a class. Then set this to text to XL, font bold, text, set the text. We're setting the color now to indigo, setting it to indigo 600. Sorry about that. Okay, indigo 600, right? Then we'll pass in the content, right? So we see we've already passing our first content. And this is going to be the name of the developer of this particular portfolio. So after our span, we'll go down and then we'll create a div class, create a div class of flex, right, to display flex, and then space and x and it. Now we're going to have our a tag for styling. We're going to set this to hash for now. I'm just going to set it to hash for now. Then we're going to we're going to call our class, which is text gray 600. And then we're going to give it a hover I'm going to hover on the text. Indigo 600. Indigo 600. We are going to set it to about. Right? So you can see we've already created an about. So as we're building this, we're making it responsive. Making this a responsive website as we're building it. You can see it in its responsive state currently. We can go ahead and implement the same styling pattern. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy this. I'm going to go ahead and copy this and paste it for time. So sorry, but I'm going to copy this. I'm going to copy this to this. And copy it twice. The first is going to be about, and the second is going to be project. And the third is going to be contact. Third is going to be contact. So we'll actually build our navigation bar, right? So let's go ahead and implement our hero section. So hero section. Hero section is that main page you see when you're building a website, right? Or when you go into a website, you see that main image, right? That is known as the hero section. That area is known as what? The hero section. So let's go ahead and add section dot. So we're going to say padding top 20. I'm going to set BG gradient. We're going to use gradient for our background color. I'm going to set gradient to from indigo dash 500 to green dash 300. Right? So now we'll see what we're going to have. So we're going to set div, right? Div class. Then what we do, we're going to have max width 6. But then we're going to have mx photo. Margin mx handles the using margin to handle the x-axis, right? Handle the x-axis, and also going to have px auto. We're going to set px for, then py to handle the y-axis. I'm going to set that to 24. Right now, the next thing we'll be doing is actually creating another div. Right, so we'll create another div. And what we do, set this new div flex column md flex row items center, then we're going to have center, and then we're going to have the also empty 1/3, right? Then we're going to have another div again. This time it's going to be another div of W48, right? Then you're going to have height set to 48 in terms of view height. You're going to have rounded full, rounded full. You're going to have BG white, and then shadow, LG, right? Large. You're going to have overflow set to hidden, and MX auto, right? And then now we're going to put in our image. We're going to put in our image. We're going to put in our image. Now it's going to be this, and go to our image and then put in this, and you see the output. No, this image, not this image. So not this image. I want it to be this first image. Sorry about that. Okay. Something is wrong. Okay, I made an error in my code. Okay. I had an error in my code. Okay. Oh, now I spotted the error. So yeah, exactly. So that's good. That's supposed to be my image, right? So now I'm just going to put an alternate text and call this alternate text profile, right? Call this alternate text profile, and I'm just going to add a class, right? I'm going to add a class, and I'm going to set my class to width full. I'm going to set to height full. I'm going to set it to object cover. So now what this does is that it takes the image, right, to actually take over that whole container it's actually set in, right? So now I'm going to do more on my styling, but I feel like there is an error somewhere in the code, because I'm supposed to have my background color displaying at this point. I don't seem to understand why it's not displaying. So somewhere in my code, I made an error that I have to. Okay, I think I just spotted it. So okay, so my gradient was spelled incorrectly. I was missing a D, right? So I had to like impute that. So if you let's view this in the responsive mode and let's see. Okay, so in a responsive state, this is how it looks like, right? So in a responsive state, this is how it looks like. My PC is just so slow today, and I don't seem to know why. So on mobile view, it's going to look like this on mobile view. We're going to impute more text to the hero section. Then you see it's beautiful styling. So as we style, let's style it as we go like this in mobile view and see the changes, right? That applies. So now I'm going to include my text, right? I'm going to include my text. So I'll create a div, right? And this div, I'm going to have a class. I'm going to have a class and MD. So I'm going to have W2, 3, and I'm going to have empty margin top set to 8, and I'm going to have MD set to medium screen, set to margin top 0. So also coding, we're actually putting in the mobile responsiveness, right? Text set to center and in the text left, right? Now I'm gonna go in and start imputing our texts. So we're gonna go in and start imputing our text. So we're gonna say H, this is H3, H2. H2 is gonna have a class. It's gonna have a class of text. Gonna have a class of text for XL, font bold. I'm gonna have text white, right? I'm gonna have John Doe, right? So you can see the text right appearing at that point. So I'm gonna change this to H1, more larger text. Okay. So I'm going to add the rest texts. P, right? So we're going to have P, then text XL, then we're going to have text indigo, and text indigo 100, margin top 2, software engineering So I'm going to just include just a few description text, but in this case, I'll just include dummy text. Just include dummy text because of our time, and also have just a few time left. So indigo 100 margin top set to 4 max width XL. Then I'm going to just include lorem. Let's say lorem 34 to generate 34 dummy text. So while this load, wait to see what the output will be. Okay, so you can see this is going to be the mobile view of a simple portfolio website, right? We just building a basic website to just go through what we've actually done so far and see how like basically it has benefited us, right? So I'll go ahead and okay. So I just spotted something that I want to like take a look at. So well, nevertheless, so I'll go ahead and start implementing on the next section. Start implementing the next section, which would be project section, right? So I'll say project section. So project section, and in project section, I create a new section called. So I'll say the ID, the project. So create project section, and project section. I'm going to give it an ID. I'm going to give it an ID of project. Give it an ID of project. I'm going to call it class. I'm going to set class py20. I'm going to set background. I'm going to set bg gray to 50. And I'll include my divs. Will include my divs and say div class max width of 6 XL MX or 2 PX 4 PX4. Now set H2 with class. Now set the class of text 3XL and font bold and text gray 800 MB 8. right? And then I'll call this projects. Okay, so we now have the project section. Then it's time for us to start implementing the projects. After this, we're going to have a class of div, bg grade 50. bg grade 50, and we're going to have rounded lg, rounded lg. We're going to have p6 shadow dash sm. We're going to have, then inside this div, so inside this div, I'm going to put in p so I made a mistake here, and sorry about this was an oversight. Take that one out. I'm going to put in div dot. I'm going to put in div dot, right? And I'll set this to grid because it's time for us to put in our cards using grid. And I'll set this to grid. Set this to grid columns and one medium screen grid. Then the grid column. Then this grid columns 3, then we'll have a gap, a grid gap of 8, right? So inside here we place our individual grid cards. So inside here we place our individual grid cards. You'll have card 1, so we'll have card 1. So div. So I'm just going to show you guys how to implement this using grid, and I believe that will give us more of like an insight on how stuff like this are being developed in a real world scenario. So we're going to set this to bg white rounded lg shadow sm shadow sm overflow hidden over shadow md and transition shadow right. Then in here I'm going to put in my image, so img, so img, I'm going to call source, put this down. right? And then I'm going to give it a class. So I'm going to give it a class of, I'm going to give it a class of b of the width full and height 48 and object cover, right? So let's see. So we created a card like that. Now done implementing the image. So I'm going to go down and then implement a div, right? We're going to go down and implement a div. I'm going to give that div a class. I'll give it a div class. So we're going to give the div a class, which is a div dot. So we're going to give the div a class, and that class is going to be of p6, right? And then we're going to have history. I'll have a class, and the class will be text XL, font semi-bold, and text gray 800. And then I'm going to call this project 1, right? I'm going to call it project 1, and we're going to have another class. We're going to have another class, another tag P, and paragraph is going to have a class, and this class we're going to give it text. We're going to give it text gray. We're going to give it text gray of 600 and empty margin top 2. And inside it, we just create dummy text of Lauren 20, right? To give us just dummy text about this particular project. So refresh again. So now, lastly, we're going to add that paragraph that I'm going to have just one div of dot empty -4, and that is going to have an a tag in it. That a tag is going to have a class. It's going to have a class of text indigo 600 and percentage hashtag indigo text 600. Then it's going to have a hover. So it's going to have a hover text indigo 700, and then the font size of medium, right? And then I'm going to see learn more. So like this, what you see after this whole thing runs, and you see that we've created one card. Like so, this is known as just one card. So I have this is just like a component. So I have an image, text, right, describing my project. So I can basically now just grab this, this project one. So I just grab this code, this one. So I just grab it from this point, right? I think there's no where it has the image, right? So where it has the image source, yeah. So I just grab it from here. I can basically copy this up to this point. So I can copy this, right, and paste multiple times, right? You see I have another one, and I can also paste it to, right? So I can paste this multiple times, right? So so now I can change this to what? Project 2. So this is just a basic implementation of how to use the knowledge of HTML and CSS to create a basic website, right? Now, with what you've learned so far of HTML tags, and also with the resources I shared from the beginning of this, if you miss the beginning session of this bootcamp, you can basically go to the streams. You can go to day one. No, you can go to day two, right? You can go to day two, and then when you go to day two, things either day one or day two, you'll see a link I shared to where you can learn more about HTML and CSS, right? And also here you can learn more about Tailwind CSS. Again, you go on your browser. Then when you go on your browser, you type Tailwind CSS, right? Tailwind CSS, right? You just type this on Google, and then Google will search out Tailwind CSS for you. So when you click on it, you can read the documentations and learn how to use Tailwind to design your website, right? So what we've done so far, we've basically just created a very, very basic but yet amazing responsive website, right? Which takes on different form, right? This is how it looks. You're using like a tablet. So we can basically make this a full screen, right? You can make this a full screen, and then you get to see how it will look like, right? Yeah, this is how it will look like when using it on desktop mode. So again, thank you for coming this far, joining this bootcamp. Thank you for coming this far. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for staying with us to the end. It's not easy, but it's a very, very rewarding session because you got to learn a little bit about HTML and also get the opportunity to have links to resources that will guide you through developing your knowledge. The world of web design is very, very large and very, very vast. You basically have to learn more. You basically have to put in more interest to learn more and practice on a daily basis, right? So thank you very much for this session. I hope next time we have a web design bootcamp like this, I hope to see you guys. I hope to be with you guys, to join you guys and have this session again. So thank you very, very much. Thank you.